Come all young sailormen, listen to me. I'll sing you a song of the fish in the sea. Blow, ye winds, westerly, westerly blow. We're bound to the southward, so steady she goes.
I'm going to give a little bio here. Next person is Jefferson Holland, Annapolis, Maryland. I'm going to tell you about Jefferson. Jefferson Holland is the poet laureate at Eastport, the waterman's maritime neighborhood across the harbor from Annapolis proper. A modern-day Chesapeake troubadour, a singer-songwriter, poet, storyteller, Jeff performs all original material inspired by decades of life on the bay. Jeff is the editor of the Chesapeake Bay magazine and writes an outdoor column in the Annapolis Capital. He lives in Annapolis with his emotional support spouse, Lewis White, and their rescue retriever, Millie. Welcome, Jefferson.
Oh, what a thrill to be here. I'm going to be doing some stuff from this chapbook, and it's available at the Gearbox. So, Eastport is, again, a little neighborhood across the harbor from Annapolis proper. It's the traditional home of both black and white watermen, either working out in the water or working in places like the McNasty Oyster Company building, where that eventually became a museum that I was the founding director of. So it's a wonderful place to be. But there, the McNasty Company building is on Back Creek, and that's where everybody in the neighborhood goes in the summertime to go chicken necking. You've never been chicken necking? That's where you take a chicken neck and you tie a string around it, and you lower it down over the pier into the water. You wait for a nice Chesapeake Bay blue crab to come along and latch onto it, and then you scoop it up with a long pole net. So this is a song about crabbing on Back Creek, and curiously enough, it's called Back Creek Crab. I'm gonna get my bucket and a chicken neck. I own a piece of string and a long pole net. I'm going down to Back Creek. I'm gonna get me some crab. I'm going down to Back Creek, sit in the pier, dangle my line while I sip on beer. Going down to Back Creek. I'm going to Back Creek crab. Give me some big fat meal with a little coat. It's a but the big fat on the go. Hard crabs, soft crabs, even the cheddar. Take them home, I need them, the sooner the better. I don't need a knife, I don't need a knife. Back Creek crab, the satisfy better go. Down the Back Creek, I'm going to Back Creek crab. Your part's coming up, right? Buddy, bop, bop, buddy, buddy, bop, 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 bop. Chesapeake Bay is an inspirational place. It's the largest estuary in the entire continent of the United States. And it is 200 miles long. It stretches from where the Susquehanna River flows through Pennsylvania, down through Maryland and Virginia, out into the Atlantic Ocean between Cape Henry and Cape Charles. And it is just a delightful place. And the progress has been made on restoring it to its original health. A lot of work has been done for the past 35 years, and we're getting there, making progress. Got a long ways to go. But one of the elements there is that the seagrasses are growing in certain places and kind of disappearing in others. And the grasses are ecologically important for the health of the bay. They provide a place for little critters to hide from their predators, baby crabs and fish. Also oxygenate the water, clean the water, provide all kinds of good things. And a lot of work is being done to try to restore the beds, the seagrasses. These are grasses that the environmentalists call submerged aquatic vegetation. Seaweed. So as a poet, I cringe at that phrase. If it's submerged, it's aquatic. But if you call it subaquatic vegetation, then there's music there. And what kind of music would it be but a tango? The baby boomer generation has fostered overpopulation, waterfront property inflation, because of deforestation. Deforestation leads to soil erosion that wreaks environmental devastation. But subaquatic vegetation. I forgot to mention this is a sing-along. So everybody on this side, sing with me, S-A-V. You ready? Submerged aquatic vegetation. S-A-V. S-A-V. Subaquatic vegetation. S-A-V. Subaquatic vegetation. S-A-V. Subaquatic vegetation. S-A-V. All together now feeling. S-A-V. Subaquatic vegetation. S-A-V. Subaquatic vegetation. S-A-V. Subaquatic vegetation. S-A-V. Subaquatic vegetation. Comprehend this complication. Erosion brings about siltation, which covers up the vegetation, creating sunlight deprivation, flooding the water till the plants must desist. Their photosynthesis gives it a cause of condemnation. For subaquatic vegetation, everybody now. S-A-V, subaquatic vegetation. S-A-V, subaquatic vegetation. S-A-V, subaquatic vegetation. S-A-V, subaquatic vegetation. Now listen for your information. It's not a hopeless situation. We must act without hesitation, enforcing soil conservation. Instead of tearing down trees, we must needs plant some seeds. The subaquatic vegetation can be seen by reforestation. S-A-V, subaquatic vegetation. S-A-V, subaquatic vegetation. S-A-V, subaquatic vegetation. S-A-V, subaquatic vegetation. It's not a tricky operation. Engaging in reforestation. Just take a little excavation and stick a sprout of vegetation in. Be the solution to runoff pollution. It can be the one salvation for subaquatic vegetation. Everybody now. S-A-V, subaquatic vegetation. Now Eastport boys got this odd tradition when the sun swings to its equinoctial position. They build a little fire down along the docks. They doff their shoes and they burn their winter socks. Yes, they burn their socks at the equinox. You might think that's peculiar, but I think it's not. See, they're the same socks they put on last fall, and they never took them off not at all. So they burn their socks at the equinox with a little old fire burning nice and hot. Some think incineration is the only solution because washing them contributes to the Chesapeake's pollution. Through the spring and the summer and into the fall, they go around not wearing any socks at all, just stinky bare feet stuck in old deck shoes, whether out on the water or enjoying a brew. So if you sail into the harbor on the 21st of March, and you smell a snow like Limburger mixed in with laundry starch, you know you're downwind to the Eastport docks, where they're burning their socks for the equinox. There are lots of legends in the Chesapeake Bay tradition, and one of them is of a sea monster. It's not Nessie, it's Chessie. Let me tell you the story of Big Captain Dan, that oysterback son of an old waterman. One day last July, when he hauled out his traps, he found that he had a whale of a catch. It was Chessie the sea monster, Chessie the sea monster, Chessie the scourge of the Chesapeake Bay. Chessie the sea monster, Chessie the sea monster, feared from Cape Henry to Havre de Grace. Now some sailors thought when they happened to see her that she was an eel or a plesiosaur, but Dan found a gigantic dog, a retriever, not a fish, not an eel, not a no dinosaur. Well, Big Captain Dan was astounded to see her, a 42-ton Chesapeake Bay retriever. She knocked down his boat with her 80 knot breath, then hauled out her tongue and near licked him to death. She was Chessie the sea monster, Chessie the sea monster, really not much of a monster at all, but an overgrown puppy with no one to feed her, so Captain Dan took her back home to Whitehall. She was big enough to have been Moby Dick's daughter. Her head was still dry in 5 fathoms of water. She made 6 foot weights with a wag of her tail, and he made up her bed in the spinnaker sail. Now, not many people could ever get used to a pet twice the size of a railroad caboose, but Dan liked the way all the tourists would duck when she followed his boat to the old city dock. Well, they got along fine till one day last November, a day Dan would rather not have to remember. She dug a deep hole like to bury a bone, but what did she bury? The whole State House dome. Oh. And then came the time that she went way too far and stirred up a scene like the Second World War. She jumped in to fetch a big stick, so Dan thought. But what she fetched back was the governor's yacht. Oh. Dan watched a platoon of dog catchers pursue her. It took a division of men to subdue her. They loaded her onto a truck with a crane and chained her up back of the SPG. Hey. Poor Chessie the sea monster, Chessie the sea monster, chained to a tree as a final resort. Once she could play all day long in the bay, but now she's held prisoner back of Eastport. Well, that winter the bay froze as thick as a glacier. Captain Dan felt too downhearted to face it. The wind froze the flame on the end of a match. The watermen couldn't get out for their catch. with the Chesapeake frozen as hard as a rock, and the workboats all stuck in their slips at the docks. Dan was becoming a mean old recluse, and to add to his troubles, Jessie broke loose. She had chewed through that tree like a pup chews a stick, except that this tree was a full 4 feet thick. Then she plunged to the ice and she cleared it away as she swam off the Severn and into the bay. Meanwhile, Dan sat alone by the stove and shack, thinking they'd never let Jessie come back. Just when his poor heart couldn't take it anymore, a big frozen nose burst in through the door. Captain Dan, called the place in the trace. That dog of yours cut a big path through the ice. All the watermen cheered. All the watermen cheered. When they saw what she'd done, at last they could sail on the nice big dredge runs. Get ready to say hooray for Jessie, hooray for Jessie, ready? Hooray for Jessie, hooray for Jessie. Jessie, Dan Hooker, you sure saved the day again. Hooray for Jessie, hooray for Jessie. Big finish. Jessie the hero of Chesapeake. Oh, you've heard it. Hey. Oh boy, we're having fun now. So, the Maryland State Song just got passed, which is a good thing. Since 1936, we had this horrible state song that was to the tune of O Tannenbaum for one minute. So that wasn't the worst part of it. It turned out that it was all horrible Confederate propaganda, talking about, it was written about the riots in Baltimore when the first Union troops came through town on the way to occupy Maryland. So anyway, we finally got rid of it. And I've got a new contender for our new state song. It has nothing to do with Confederacy. I want to climb up to the mountaintop where people fly on the rocks and ramble with you hand in hand. That's my Maryland. I want to cheers my own home team scores while Orioles and Ravens soar above the pride of Baltimore. That's my Maryland. Oh, Maryland, my Maryland, from mountains to the sea. Potomac River flowing down to meet the Chesapeake. The harbor in Annapolis with schooners running free. Oh, Maryland, my Maryland, that's Maryland to me. I want to catch a blue crab in my net as Osprey circle overhead while paddling upon a quiet creek. I want to hear the geese a swarming over the marshes of the eastern shore and see the skipjack sail the Chesapeake. And this is where the University of Maryland Marching Band comes by. Go Terps! Oh, Maryland, my Maryland, from mountains to the sea. Susquehanna flowing down to meet the Chesapeake. Harbor in Annapolis with schooners running free. Oh, Maryland, I'm Maryland, that's Maryland to me. I want to see the seagulls dance a jig along the shores of Assateague and build a little castle in the sand. I want to count my many blessings in the land of pleasant living. That's my Maryland. That's my Maryland. So I was with a musical group called Crab Alley, way back in the last century, and another group called Eastport Musical, and we did original music about the Chesapeake Bay. But there's all kinds of wonderful, inspiring figures. There was a fellow named, well, I'll tell you his name. There was a legendary man from the town of Deal. Deal is a little waterman's village just south of Annapolis. So there was a legendary man from the town of Deal with a heart of gold and guts of steel. To eat a lot of oysters was his only aim. They called him Muskrat Green. As a little bitty baby weighed just 2 pounds, but he grew to be the biggest water man around. At 5'6", he weighed 235, with a belly twice as big as any man his size. He was a hard-eating, in an oyster-eating contest, nobody could beat him. He said, "They can't shuck him fast as I can eat him." He won every eating contest on the whole East Coast. He could chug a quart of raw ones like a cocktail toast. After downing 300 in a minute 5 seconds, he said, "Well, it's time for lunch, I reckon." Well, they sent him off to London town, the one near Wales, and this time what he had to eat was snails. Tastes like rubber is all he had to say, but he ate a record number of them anyway. He beat the best eater that the Brits could show, downing 2.2 pounds of escargot. He did it in 2 minutes and 43 seconds, and I got him in the Guinness Book of World Records. And back in Deal, they say Muskrat put that tiny Tidewater town on the map. They made him honorary mayor of the town, and they put him in the limo, and they drove him all around. And now, he's up in heaven with all them harp pluckers, searching for the former world's fastest oyster shucker. He was the greatest oyster eater that the world has ever seen. He was Muskrat Green. It's a very true story, actually. So, okay, one more, okay, good. So I'm going to leave you with a poem about something that really almost sort of happened. There was a pirate named Richard Clark, who in 1702 threatened to attack the city of Annapolis. And I wanted to commemorate this in a poem, but I couldn't figure out a way to make Dick Clark sound threatening, so I changed that a couple of years. Well, you might have heard the old men speak of the time pirates scavenged the Chesapeake. Here's the tale of one pirate, a bold pickaroo, who scoured the bay at the dark of the moon, swept down on his prey like an eastern typhoon, his cannons ablaze with a flash and a boom. Captain Doubloon was a scalawag's name, and you don't want to hear how he won his ill fame. He ate hot pickled peppers in porcupine chowder, seasoned with sulfur and blunderbuss powder. While slopped in a goblet, he'd slobber it down, and his belch could be heard 29 miles around. Now the heat from the peppers had to suffice, for his veins carried nothing but water and ice. This cold-blooded creature he happened to be, with no trace of mercy or charity. He captured a ship, made the crew walk the plank, and he'd never say, "Please, you're welcome," or "Thanks." One night, as the captain boy opened the door of the captain's cabin, he saw there hunched over a chart, old Doubloon and his wicked sidekick, their fierce faces lit by the spurry wick of a whale oil lantern hung from a low beam that swung as they plotted, conspired, and schemed. The cabin boy, Fitzhugh's boy, was known as Bonnie Hugh. When he swamped into the captain's grog, he overheard the two conspiring to attack a town, wreak havoc in the streets, and steal any ships that were tied to the slits to build their pirate fleet. Bonnie Hugh cried when he spied the junk, felt a chill in the nape of his neck, for the town they had picked was Annapolis, the spot where the blackheads. Annapolis, poor Bonnie cried. They're going to attack it. They're going to burn it to the ground, and then they're going to sack it. Why, he'd swim ashore to warn the town, but that would cause disaster. For Hugh McCoy was a servant boy who had run away from his master. And runaway servants in those long ago days were treated no better than if they were his slaves. If he showed up at his master's house, they'd beat him with a chain. They'd lock him into pillory stocks and shackle him in chains. So swimming ashore to warn the town of the picaroon's intent would only get poor Bonnie into deeper trouble yet. He would pace the ship, hoping to trip on a good idea or two, when the sun went down and the moon came around and Annapolis came to view. "Man the guns!" the pirate cried. "Prepare to bomb the town. There's gold in this box for the man who knocks that new church steeple down." And as the pirates aimed their cannons by the light of the rising moon, Hugh McCoy went down below to grope about in the gloom. He stumbled into the galley where the cook prepared a snack, for his messmates were up on deck preparing to attack. He stirred hot pickled peppers into porcupine chowder, seasoned it with sulfur and blunderbuss powder. He slopped it in goblets all greasy and brown, and climbed up the ladder to pass them around. And Hugh crouched in the corner to watch them go, crouched in the corner by the hot stoves below. "A fire!" he gasped with the gas on his fire. "I'll stop the attack, set the whole ship on fire." And he scooped out a pot full of hot glowing coals and scrambled to spread them around in the hold. Meanwhile, up on deck, all the gunners were ready to fire at the state house dome and the tall church spire. But before they could set off their guns or their matches, huge balls of flame leapt up from the hatches. "Abandon the ship!" came the cry of despair as the billows of sparks leapt up into the air. And as the pirates leaped frantically over the rail, the fire leapt up into the rigging sails. And so the ship sank with their holds on the flood, her bow spread in the air and astern in the mud. And the pirate, he climbed to the crop of the mast, and he roared at the fate that had met him at last. "Buy me hot pickled peppers in porcupine chowder, seasoned with sulfur and blunderbuss powder. I'll get the varmint scuttleby ship." And he roared, and he pulled at his beard with his fist. Meanwhile, the cabin boy bravely sailed by in a barrel, knowing his life was in imminent peril. "'Twas I sank your ship, my dear Captain Doboon, you pitiful pirate, you old picaroon." "You!" cried the captain. "You're just a wee snit. You burned in your scuttle, me beautiful ship. Only plotting to plunder Annapolis' ruin. But you, what are you? This is all your vile doing." The boy cried out, "Fire me, Captain Doboon. You'll not go a-plundering any time soon. When the governor hears of my deeds on this day, he'll grant me my freedom though I ran away. But you pitiful old picaroon, you'll swim from the gallows tomorrow at noon." "Strike me dead, that's true," cried the old picaroon, as obliging black clouds came to cover the moon, from which lightning flashed down with a crack of boom, sending the old picaroon to his doom. And after the captain blew up in the air, little white drips seemed to drop everywhere. White icy drops of pirate's blood. Each icy blob of pirate's blood twirling its own way. Each swirling blob of pirate's blood twirling the tide became a stinging jellyfish, they say, or perhaps they lied. But if you take a summer swim out on the Chesapeake, and you suddenly emit a rather noisy pirate shriek, you'll have felt the jellyfish's sting, the fierce sea metal's wound. That's the sting of the pickled pepper, and the blood of the bold picaroon.
Well, that was excellent, excellent. Thanks, Jan. Thank you guys so much. Thank you for being great audience, too. It's always great to allow these guys to focus, not have a lot of noise in the background. I can tell you guys are really into this, which is really great. We're going to take a quick break, start in about 10 minutes. We're just a couple minutes behind, but we'll catch up very easily tonight because I think there's a couple of holes in the schedule along the way. So relax, get whatever you need. We'll be starting in here about 10.
Bay scalloping was a livelihood for most of us here. Mackerel clouds overhead are moving on. We call it a sailor sky. flattening the water, bringing